Okay, welcome back to another episode of Third and 23. I'm your host, Alex, here to talk college football, specifically recapping week 7 of the college football season, see how my picks and predictions went, see how they did against the spread. Lately I had been kind of struggling after a really hot start. But this past weekend, I kind of got it back, did well. Uh, you can even make the argument that I left some meat on the bone. If you were watching watching my picks video for this past Friday, you can see where there were some picks that I wanted to go with that I didn't necessarily go with, and I should have. But end of the day, we still made out this weekend. Had a good weekend. Uh, and let's get into it. Let's see where everything went right, wrong, and kind of give you a recap of what happened in these specific games. Right. So, first starting out, if you're new to this channel, you see in the top right that is my overall straight up record for the season. How about that? That's my overall straight up record for the season, and then that is my against the spread record for the season. Like I said, I had a hot start. Definitely cooled off the last 2 weeks. Was struggling, but much better this past weekend. So, Syracuse, Florida State. This is a game where I said left some meat on the bone, right? Spread was 18. And I said, man, I'm leaning towards laying the 18. If you laid the 18, good on you. I just didn't think Syracuse was going to be able to score enough in this game. And they didn't. They scored 3 points. Florida State won this one 41-3. I hit it obviously straight up. There was no chance I was going to pick Syracuse to win this game. But Florida State won 41-3. I said it'd be a game where I thought Syracuse's run defense, which is decent, could kind of contain, I say, the Florida State running game a bit. But they got no talent on the back end to be able to handle the Florida State passing attack. And Keon Coleman had been quiet. I said this is a game that he could wake up, right? And he did. He went 9 for 140. They couldn't handle Keon Coleman in the secondary, and Syracuse's one-dimensional offense. I said these guys are fading, man. These guys are cracking. Like, being a one-dimensional, I'm sorry, not even a one-dimensional offense, a one-man offense where everything's about Garrett Schrader. He has to do it all. That's not going to work, right? And now Syracuse has lost 3 games in a row, all of them blowouts. And, I don't know if Syracuse is going to win another game this season. I mean, I don't have their schedule right in front of me. Maybe they got a cupcake in there, but I don't know if they're going to win another game this season unless they find some other playmakers to help out. Garrett Schrader, 9 for 21, 99 yards. He didn't really do much on the ground either. That's not going to cut it. And for Florida State, again, I'll say this, man. Again, Florida State didn't do well stopping the run. I mean, LaQuint Allen, who is not that great of a back, he's not a special back. He ran for 110. FSU has some defensive issues, but you're not gonna see them against a team like Syracuse, who is really just kind of circling the drain right now, in my opinion. Right? Let's go ahead and update this on our overall record, but this is when I left some meat on the bone because I damn sure was leaning towards laying the 18 and should have. Next up, Oregon at Washington, game of the day. This is where College Game Day was. This game was as advertised. This was a classic, right? This was an instant classic. You're gonna see these. I don't have ESPN Classic anymore, but if they still have that channel, this is a game you're gonna see on that channel, in the future down the line, right? Washington won this game 36-33. This game was back and forth. Oregon had offense in this game. Washington had offensive game in this game. Both teams did make some defensive plays when it mattered, though. This was a hell of a game. Oregon had over 500 yards of offense in this game, really moving up and down the field. Bo Nix was looking good. Troy Franklin had 150. They ran for over 200. What cost Oregon in this game was they went 0 for 3 on fourth downs, and there were some critical ones. If you remember, one was in the first half when they went for it right at the end of the first half when they could have just kicked a chip shot field goal. And if you look at the final score, 36-33, maybe they should have kicked that chip shot field goal, right? But I understand, it was a back and forth game. They thought touchdowns on the road is what you need to win this game. They had a similar situation in the second half with a fourth down where it was around midfield right at the end of the game or towards the end of the game. They go for it on fourth down, they're up 33-29, and they don't get it. They give Washington the ball around midfield, give them that short field. Michael Penix makes it happen. They go down the field, score the game-winning touchdown, and that's all she wrote. So 36-33. By the way, if you're watching this and you're thinking about Washington bets, moving forward, keep in mind that Jalen McMillan went out in this game. And Washington has a lot of weapons. When you got Michael Penix, he can make weapons too because he's a good quarterback. But this is just something to keep in mind. Jalen McMillan went down in this game, so you want to keep your eyes posted or peeled on how long he's going to be out for. This is a game where I did this game. I said, and this is crazy. I said I'm going to lay the 3. I said there's a chance that this is going to be a push though, right? Earlier in the week, this was at 2.5, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm saying this on video. I'm saying, man, it's at 2.5. I'm definitely gonna do this. I wish I did this at 2.5 because I don't do my picks and my bets. I don't do them until I do this video for you guys to see where my mind is, where my mind is. Right? I do the video. It's already back up to 3, and I said, man, it's gonna probably be a push, and it was a push. So we're not gonna, my ATS. I mean, I guess if it matters, we can put one of these for the push. But yeah, 36-33. So this was a push. So we didn't lose money here, but really wish I did this when it was 2.5. But what can I say? I don't do these until Friday. So yet another one where you could say left some meat on the bone, right? On the Texas A&M at Tennessee. This is a game where this is what you could call a slugfest, but obviously I'm going to call this a slop fest because this was a sloppy football game here. This game, the final in this game was Tennessee 20-13. So if you laid the 3, you got it. I didn't want to do this game because I thought it was going to be a one-possession game. It was. And I thought Texas A&M, who has an advantage at receiver, if Max Johnson can get these guys the ball, there's a chance A&M could win this game. But I thought the Tennessee running game would be the difference. And that's really how this played out. But this was such a sloppy football game. Give you guys an example of how sloppy this game was. 1, there's 0 touchdowns in the second half of this game, right? 0 offensive touchdowns in the second half of this game. There was the Aggies had a 4th and 1. They were going for it, where Max Johnson, the O-lineman, stepped on Max Johnson's foot as he's handing the ball off, and he falls down with the ball, so obviously they don't convert. Just goofiness. A wide open 3rd and short, Max Johnson had a running back open in the flat. It was like 3rd and 3. Max Johnson had him open in the flat. He's left-handed. He's backpedaling and throwing it. He doesn't get enough on it. Like, Max Johnson, what are you doing? The running back is open in the flat. He's by himself. Not only is he going to get the first down, he's going to, if he doesn't score a touchdown because there was nobody with him, this is going to be like down probably inside the 10-yard line or something. I mean, he's going to sprint down for 40, 50 yards or whatever it was and be a huge play. and he throws it short because, he doesn't get enough on it, right? Terrible throw. On Tennessee's side, Joe Milton, he threw a pick in the end zone in the second half of this game, in the fourth quarter, actually. It was in double coverage. Double coverage, terrible decision. He throws a pick in the end zone, right? The Aggies missed a field goal in the fourth quarter. Max Johnson threw a pick in his own territory in the fourth quarter. He threw another pick in the fourth quarter on, like, desperation mode, right? Which, I mean, I'm not going to knock him for that. That's desperation mode. But this was just a sloppy game. And then the sloppiest part of this game, 23 total penalties between them. Texas A&M had 11 penalties for 90 yards. The Vols had 12 penalties for 115 yards. And if you were watching the game, they were just begging for calls all game long. I mean, they were both teams were hoping the referees were going to win this game for them. I mean, this was just a sloppy game on both sides. Tennessee got a short punt return for a touchdown in the second half, in the third, kind of early third quarter, which basically was the difference in the game. And that's what, was the winning points, basically, you could say. And then, like I said, the running game for the Vols is what was the difference in this one. That's what won them the game. They ran for over 200 yards, if I remember correctly. Let me see. Yep, they ran for 232, matter of fact. And they ran for 232. Jalen Wright had 136. And Texas A&M ran for, like, what was it, 50? Yeah, 54 yards. So Texas A&M couldn't run the ball, and the Vols could run the ball. That's basically your difference in this game. And so Tennessee won this game. This is a game, though. I like I said, I wasn't going to do this as far as against the spread goes, because of what I said earlier. Aggies might win this one because it's going to be a one-possession game, as it was. But still, we hit it on straight up. So let's go ahead and update our record there. Next up, Kansas at Oklahoma State. This is a weird one right here. All right, so this one we got bid on. This one I thought the spread was weird because I was like, man, Kansas is better than Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's not a good team. Maybe Oklahoma State is a good team now, right? They've won 2 in a row. They've swept the state of Kansas, beating both K-State and KU the past 2 weeks. They won this game 39-32. And this is a game that was like back and forth. Kansas had the lead in the second half. It was 32-24. It might have been going into the fourth quarter too. But the lead in the second half, 32-24. Jason Bean had a hell of a game at quarterback. He threw for 410 yards and 4 touchdowns, but he threw 2 picks, and both picks were in the second half of this game, basically like late third, early fourth, something like that, where he threw 2 interceptions on back-to-back drives while they had the lead, and that's what gave Oklahoma State the life to be able to come back down 32-24 and win this game 39-32. I told you guys Oklahoma State's got 2 players, right? They got Colin Oliver on the edge. He made some plays in this game. And I said they got a guy named Ollie Gordon at running back, who I said he's not being used enough, right? Or he just doesn't have enough people around him to help him out. Man, this dude Ollie Gordon had the game of his life, man. He ran for 168 yards, and then he caught 6 passes for 116. Couldn't be stopped. I told you guys, this guy's got power, speed, vision. He's a total package right there at running back. The players that he got on his team aren't of his level, right? So that's why you don't probably hear about Oklahoma State more often. But he took this game over. And those Jason Bean picks is really what turned this game. If you followed me and you laid it 3 when it was 32, it was a back and forth game. But when it was 32-24, you were thinking, okay, now we got a chance. Let's go ahead. Let's bring this home. These interceptions, man. You can't do that, right? You can't do that. So that's, like I said, 39-32 final. We're going to have to eat that on both accounts. So my straight up. And we lost that against the spread. Oops. All right, moving along. Florida at South Carolina. So this is another game that I did, and I told you guys I'm taking Florida money line. All right, I'm taking Florida straight up in this game. I thought Florida, I've said it all year that I thought South Carolina, first I said I thought South Carolina was the worst team in the SEC. Then I'm like, okay, maybe not the worst because Leggett is serious at receiver. Rattler is finally playing with consistency. It took till this year, but he's finally playing with some consistency, and he's looking much better, right? But I still thought they had a terrible defense. I didn't think they had much players around. You know, I still don't think South Carolina's. I mean, South Carolina's what they're 2-4, right? They're not good. I mean, are they the worst team in the SEC? Okay, maybe I'm wrong about that. They're not the worst team in the SEC, but they're just not good. This is a game where Florida won 41-39. Again, I told you the South Carolina defense isn't good. If you're looking at the Gators side, they finally opened up the offense, right? They finally opened the offense. They had 513 yards. They were going downfield. They were hitting a lot of intermediate crossers that were going for big chunk plays. There was more chunk plays out there, too. Graham Mertz was missing passes or missing reads. But you got to give it up to Graham Mertz, too. These guys were down 10, 37-27 with 10 minutes left in this game. And Graham Mertz comes back to lead the 41-39 victory. It was 41-37, and Florida took like a late safety, one of those like strategic plays, those strategic safeties to like waste the clock and not allow South Carolina to do anything. But Florida did have some issues in this game. They had 513 yards, but 4-15 on third down, and those maybe 3 of those conversions were in the fourth quarter. I mean, they were struggling on third down in this game. And they also went 3 for 4 on fourth down and had some huge fourth down conversions in the fourth quarter of this game to lead his comeback. Mertz had 423 and 3 touchdowns. Like I said, he was hitting huge plays. Ricky Pearsall went 10 for 166. I mean, he's just really, I mean, I don't know if he's going to make all SEC this year, first team, but he should have a shot at second team. Because I don't think anybody at wide receiver is getting over Luther Burden, and Malik Neighbors, as they shouldn't, right? But he's having a great game. He had a great game. He's having a great year. But the Gator defense, man, they got cooked up again. Again, they got cooked, right? 465, Rattler 300 plus, 3 touchdowns. Leggett, you knew he was gonna do work. 5 for 110. He had a good game. This was a great game. This game was back and forth until South Carolina kind of took that 10-point lead, and you thought, okay, South Carolina's about to hit this. 3rd and 23, he's about to lose this. And now Graham Mertz came through with the dub for me. So we hit this on straight up, and we, as I said, we moneyline this, taking Florida straight up in this one. We hit this against the spread. Iowa, Wisconsin. Here's a game where I said I wasn't gonna do because this is how I saw the game, right? I said I was thinking Iowa 9.5. This is another one you could say I could leave meat on the bone, right? I was thinking Iowa with the 9.5 because I hadn't seen Tanner Mordecai do it at quarterback yet this year. And now he's about to go against the best defense he's faced this season. But I didn't want to believe in the Iowa offense with their backup quarterback, Deacon Hill, and just how Iowa doesn't know how to play offense. I didn't want to get burned on some 13-3 game. This is a game, oh man, I forgot to mention this. In the Oregon-Washington game, I mentioned to you guys that over-under, I believe it was 67. And I said, man, that over could be enticing. It was 69, so that was a hit. This one, the over-under in this game was 34. I think when I did the video, I believe it was 34, but it actually closed at 34.5, if I remember right. It could have been 34.5 when I did the video. The final on this one was 15-6 Iowa. I went on the road and won this. So if you did the under, congrats on that because you would have hit that too. But the meat on the bone I left was not taking Iowa with the 9.5 because this Iowa defense, man, just give it to them. They can win games by themselves. They don't need the offense, right? They just don't need them. They had, what did they have? They had 237 yards in this game. Nothing, right? Deacon Hill, the quarterback for Iowa, for the second straight week, only completed 6 passes. And this time, they weren't even like for at least something downfield to do something, right? Man, he completed 6 passes for 37 yards. But Iowa ran for 200. LaShawn Williams ran for 174. He had an 80-yard home run in there. Great run play by him, too. Great vision, great blocking. And then exploding through the hole. Good play to take that to the house. And then Wisconsin side, they just Tanner Mordecai in the first half, he went down with an injury. And to be clear, when he went down to injury, he wasn't doing much anyway. So I'm not even gonna say, oh, they had to play with the backup quarterback. Nah, Tanner Mordecai wasn't doing anything. Uh, the backup quarterback comes in, this guy named Locke. I don't know much about him. He goes in the second half. He basically just played the second half. 15 for 30, 122, and an interception. All he was doing was dinking all game. It wasn't going to happen for him. And once, got that backup quarterback in, that Iowa defense was going to eat. That they did. Wisconsin couldn't do anything. And Iowa wins this game on the road, man. These guys just own that division in the Big Ten, the Big Ten West. Didn't do it against the spread, though, but we got to update the overall. Arizona at Washington State. This is a game where I gave you guys a disclaimer. I said, if Noah Fafita is playing in this game, I'm taking Arizona with the 7.5. I left meat on the bone, though, because I said, man, Arizona could win this game with Noah Fafita. Because I believe in him. I think he should be the starting quarterback there. I know that Jaden Delores is the starter, and he's been hurt. He shouldn't get his job back. He shouldn't get his job back. If you're thinking transfer portal quarterbacks next year, Jaden Delores got to be one of them because he should not get his job back. No Fafita is just flat better than him. He protects the ball. He manages the game, and he manages this game beautifully, by the way. The final in this one was Arizona 44, Washington State 6, winning the Pullman and beat the trash out of these guys. Washington State took a 6-0 lead on the opening drive, and then that was game. Arizona just went to work, blitzed these guys. Had 516 yards. I mean, Fafita threw for 340 in this game, right? Jonah Coleman had a great game running and catching. The team ran for 174. They forced 3 turnovers. And if you're looking at Washington State, man, Cam Ward in this offense, I don't know, man. Not looking too good right now. I don't know where the what was it? Oregon State game when they were balling, slinging. Wisconsin. Those games seem so long ago because this Washington State offense is struggling in this one. But anyways, so I gotta eat. Get meat on the bone. I said money line. I did say I'll take Washington State straight up, even if Fafita's playing. Even though I thought Arizona could win the game with Fafita, right? For my on the record, right, straight up, I have to eat that loss. But I did say the 7.5, and he played, he started, and we're gonna go ahead and that's another dub against the spread. So all right, we hit that ATS. We only whiffed one this weekend on ATS, so that's why I'm like, man, good weekend. Here's another one we did against the spread, Auburn, LSU, right? So I took, as LSU was the 11-point favorite. This opened at 12.5 LSU, and this got bet down to Auburn. And I'm like, man, why? What are people seeing that I'm not seeing? Because usually I feel like I got an eye for things. Had an eye for things this week. Now, I didn't have the eye for it in the Kansas game. They blew that lead on me. But, this was like simple to me. LSU's offense is maybe the best in the country. Crazy explosive but they have a really bad secondary that can't do anything against an Auburn team that can't pass the ball at all. Right? Like they're just not good. What are people seeing? Out there in the ether, people were saying, yeah, something weird happens in this game, and it'll be a good game and stuff like that. Nah, man, what are you talking about? Auburn's not good. I mean, I'm sure weird things have happened in the past in this game because this, as I said last week, this is usually a classic slugfest. Not this year though. Man, LSU won this game 48-18. Man, they went right through these guys as I expected. 563 yards of offense, 6 for 9 on third down. I mean, these guys were just never punting. Jaden did Jaden things, 325 passing, 93 rushing. They ran really well, too, in this game, over 200. And the defense, Peyton Thorne went, they used 2 quarterbacks, but Peyton Thorne went 12 for 23, 102. That's not going to do it against a team that can't really stop the pass. So this was an easy cover. This was easy money. I can't believe that they I can't believe the things that I was seeing out there, and I can't believe this got bet down from 12.5 because I'd have did it at 12.5. You know, like this was an easy against the spread pick. This was a game where Kyron Lacey actually was the one that went off at receiver, so Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas kind of took a little break from cooking every week. Next up, USC Notre Dame. Another game I did against the spread. I said my exact words were that USC had been begging for a loss, and that Notre Dame was going to hit them right in the mouth. Final score in this one was Notre Dame 48, USC 20. And I'm going to be honest with you, the USC defense, you see that 48 on the board, and you're like, man, the defense struggling again. I'm going to be honest with you. The defense for USC wasn't that bad in this, right? You know, they only gave up 250 yards. Now, part of that is because of short fields, because USC had 5 turnovers in this game, is what the difference was in this game, including a fumble return for a touchdown, a scoop and score late when the game was already over. And they had a kick return for a touchdown when USC had cut it to 11, right? It was 31-20. They cut it to 11. Notre Dame runs that ensuing kickoff back for a touchdown, basically putting the fork in this one in the fourth quarter. But Sam Hartman, 13 for 20, 126. I mean, he didn't have a big game. They didn't really run the ball, you know, for a ton of yards either. Estime didn't really go off in this one, so the defense wasn't bad for USC in this one. Caleb in the offense is what let him down. Caleb had 199 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. That lost fumble for the scoop and score. Got sacked 6 times. Notre Dame defense was everywhere. This guy, Xavier Watts' DB, he was all over the field, man. He had a game of his life. And Notre Dame just pretty much ran away with this one with their defenses forcing turnover after turnover and big play after big play. So that's what happened basically in this one. USC, by the way, if you're keeping track, they've given up over 43 straight games. Again, this wasn't on the defense, but just talking about the scoring, they've given up 40 in 3 straight games. That right there evens up our ATS record, and it's going to stay even because these rest of these games we didn't do against the spread. Miami, North Carolina, I said, man, Miami's going to come into this game. And how are they going to come into this game? Are they going to come in with fire because of how they lost to Georgia Tech? Or are they going to just circle the drain and get basically worked because they're still thinking, you know, they're going to just be spiraling about how they lost that game at Georgia Tech, right? I give Miami credit. They came into this game with some fire. They played hard in this one. They had a lead at some point. But eventually, North Carolina just being better than Miami took over. North Carolina won this game 41-31, but it was 38-17 in the fourth quarter in this game before like Miami started getting like going on a little rally. You know when it happens in the fourth quarter, when you're down 3 touchdowns in the fourth, man, there's some foot off the gas. These are college kids, man. You know there's foot off the gas. You know there's some prevent going on. It just is what it is. I mean, Miami did have 482, but like I said, I think a lot of those yards, a lot of those were with 10 minutes to go down 21. Colby Young didn't get off in this game. It was Jacoby George, and Restrepo was also a factor. Maybe Colby Young just, you know, he's fading. He's not being part of he's not getting the targets like he did early in the season. Drake May did his thing. He was under pressure in this game. 17 for 33, 273, and 4 touchdowns. He was under pressure, but he's some big plays downfield, stood tall. The running game for UNC went crazy. What was it, 235 they ran for? Yeah, and Hampton ran for 197. Tez Walker, I know they're glad to have him back. His first game back was last week, and he was kind of like getting his feet wet. I heard he didn't know all the plays, so he's, you know, it is a get his feet wet kind of game. And this one, Tez Walker took over 6 for 132, 3 touchdowns in this game. So he's looking as good as advertised. That's a big addition to that offense, which is pretty dangerous already. And one thing with North Carolina, man, they had 14 penalties in this game for 147 yards, so it's something they definitely got to sort out. But, you know, they took it over. This is a game that I didn't do it against the spread, but I wanted to take Miami to pull off that upset. Wasn't 100% in on that. But I got to eat it because I took him. I thought maybe Tyler Van Dyke and then would have had a better game. Missouri at Kentucky, another meat on the bone game. I had Missouri winning this game straight up. And then you over research, if you want to call it that. Injuries. Cody Schrader was doubtful to play. He actually did play, but he was doubtful. So I'm thinking no running back. Brady Cook and Luther Burden were both on the injury report. They were listed as probable, so I was like, oh, they're playing, but they're not going to be 100%. Enix Rakestraw, your top corner, out. Missouri dealing with injuries. Kentucky had some too, but Missouri dealing with injuries convinced me that, okay, Devin Leary is going to finally have a good game. Even though I'm not a believer in Devin Leary, I never have been. This is a game where he could have a good game in, right? No Enix Rakestraw. But no. No Cody Schrader. Maybe these guys are one-dimensional. Cody Schrader played, but he didn't really make a big impact until late. There was wet and windy conditions in this one. Kentucky's up 14-0. And then Missouri hits a fake punt for a touchdown, which basically springboarded their comeback. This game was kind of back and forth. Missouri did get helped out by Kentucky getting 14 penalties for 122 yards and some big pass interference calls in it. Some people might think those PI calls were ticky-tack. I don't know. They were close to being ticky-tack. But those big PI calls that really aided Missouri's offense. And Devin Leary, he didn't get it done. Devin Leary was 14 for 27, 120, 2 tubs, 2 picks. I'll say it again. He was hurt by drop passes. These guys drop passes like it's going out of style. But still, 120 yards, he just didn't get it done. Ray Davis had a good game running the ball. But Devin Leary, man, I don't know. I guess you can't count on him because even in this game, he should have been able, after LSU just cooked Missouri's secondary and they're losing their top corner, you'd expected more. And Kentucky has athletic, speedy receivers, I'll say. I don't want to go as far as say good. I used to think they were good. You guys can't catch a cold lately, though. So, moving on, UCLA at Oregon State. This is a game I didn't want to do against the spread. I thought if it was in UCLA, I would have probably picked UCLA to win this one. But I just thought with the freshman quarterback, Dante Moore, going on the road to Corvallis, I don't think he's ready for that. And that's basically what happened. Oh, I'm sorry. By the way, the score in that Missouri-Kentucky game was 38-21 Missouri. So it was back and forth, and then Missouri pulled away in the fourth quarter. In this one, Oregon State won this game 36-24, and they were pretty much in control throughout the game. Dante Moore did it again, like he did last week. He threw a pick 6 to end the first half. Can't do that stuff, man. Cannot do that stuff. By the way, this is the 3rd straight game Dante Moore has thrown a pick 6 in, so that's not good either. And he's starting to really look like a freshman. He was 14 for 33, 165, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. It wasn't a good performance for him. Carson Steele did run for 110. Oregon State kind of struggles to stop the run if you guys have been paying attention. But DJU had an all right game. Threw for 266, 2 touchdowns. But the turnovers are really the difference in this game. Just too many turnovers. And that allowed Oregon State to kind of take control of this game and not relinquish that lead. So 36-24 was the final in this one. We didn't do it against the spread. Probably should have. Just knew that a freshman QB wasn't going to go in there and win. But it's all right. We did it straight up, though, and got the dub. And then finally, NC State Duke. This is a game I said I wasn't going to do because I wasn't sure on Riley Leonard at the time that I made the video. I said I'll take NC State straight up, though, if Riley Leonard doesn't play. But if Riley Leonard plays, I would take Duke. He didn't play, so I got to eat this one. Henry Bellin started at quarterback, and really, NC State is an embarrassing performance for them because Bellin only completed 4 passes. This game was won on 3 plays. A 69-yard touchdown pass in the first quarter, right? A pick Duke got that put the ball at the 8-yard line. They scored on the next play. That's 2 touchdowns. And then in the fourth quarter, what was it, like an 80-yard touchdown run in the fourth quarter. Those 3 plays got them 21. That's it. That's all Duke did. They didn't do anything else in this game. But the defense shut down NC State. MJ Morris had a bad game. He was just dinking out there. Couldn't get anything downfield. Threw a pick. Got sacked 4 times. Only had 300 yards. 4 of 15 on third down. Duke only went 1 for 9 on third down. I'm telling you, Duke didn't do anything, but except for 3 plays. And those 3 plays were enough to win this game 24-3. That's a pretty embarrassing loss. That 3 plays beats you by 3 touchdowns. So this is a bad loss for the Wolfpack. I know it was on the road, but I don't care. That's a bad loss. Call it what it is. So hopefully Riley Leonard is back in the future, because they clearly need him. I don't know if you can count on the Duke defense to do that kind of work week in and week out, right? Even though the Duke's defense has played better this year, I'm gonna give them that. So anyway, so that's how we end. So we got it back against the spread this week. What did we do? We went 4-1-1. Said it was a good week. It was a good weekend. Hope you guys followed my picks on it. If you did, congrats. If you didn't, hope it still worked out for you. That's pretty much gonna wrap up this week, or this video. And then tune in for Friday when I recap week 8. If you like the content, like, follow, subscribe, all that, and you'll see my YouTube handle here in a few seconds. All right, take care.